Welcome to the Social Chameleon Show, where our goal is to help you learn, grow, and transform into the person you want to become. On today's episode, we're talking about the side effects of your goals. Yeah. I mean, most people think about the side effects, don't think about the side effects of anything. You see the commercials where the side effects of the medications can be worse than the disease.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, you got this long list of stuff. It's like side effects me and food. Like freaking retarded. What was it, Cat Williams stand-up or whatever? He's like, I don't need an asthma medication that has a side effect of shortness of breath. It's like, what the hell? It's like defeats the purpose, right? Oh.
It's just like that's what we kind of want to talk about. It's like, what are the side effects? And what do we mean when we're talking about the side effects of goal? What's a goal side effect? What we came up with was the unintended results and or accomplishments that are achieved by setting a proper goal.
Yeah, how's that? Goals aren't medications. You know what I mean? Nobody really knows the side effects of them per se. It's not like you're going to go set out a goal and you're going to know what the side effects are off the bat, or like those infomercials, right? Results may vary.
Right. Exactly. And, they're going through this and when getting on the subject, it's funny. Like I was thinking about, the whole reason we got to this was because we had a difficult conversation.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I was talking about goal setting, and I was like, you got to think about the side effect. And I remember you saying like, what do you mean the side effect?
Well,
like,
yeah. What is the side effect of goals?
Like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, sometimes the side effect of your goal is like you quit your goal. Like, you know what I mean? If your goal is not set up properly, right? And like, that's just our definition. Like we made this definition up for the show, but like the unintended result, right? Or accomplishment that are achieved by setting a proper goal. It's like, you know what I mean? If it's not proper, you're going to quit that goal.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this part of the conversation that got brought up was like talking about that person that wants to make $1 million. It's like nobody needs $1 million.
Right.
It's like most people just need maybe 50,000 a year. I don't know. It depends on what the number is or where you live, but
I think you say most people, anything around or above 100,000, like it doesn't matter much after that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter after that. So the goal itself is not sustainable.
Right. Especially if it's got shallow intentions.
Well, I mean, it's just like, it may not be shallow, right? You still want to dream big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely not saying that.
I want people to dream that way, but I mean, when reality sets in and, let's just say the goal is to make $1 million. After you make 200K, like you're feeling pretty good about yourself, especially if you've never made that kind of money before, and then from there, it's kind of like this goal of getting to $1 million. Like when you hit 200, like, it's like, you know what? I think I'm good at 200. And like, you know what I mean? Like that's an unintended side effect, right? It's just like you settle.
Yeah. It's like
your goal.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't need, I thought of $1 million was what I needed, but through all this, I was happy at 200. Everything was, maybe your work-life balance was just the way you were looking for. And it wasn't $1 million you needed, but the 200 is what you were looking really for.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of, it's just kind of out there. It's just like, but most people, I wrote down here, maybe they had the wrong goal, but not necessarily the wrong goal, just didn't really think it through all the time, right?
Yeah. I think it's
fake or materialistic, right, or of that nature.
Egotistical goal, or society says X, so that's going to be what I set out to do.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, right? Like society, like there's so many times when people's goals are not based off of them.
Yes.
It's based off of something that's external or something else that's out there.
Right.
It's like you want to be the best person. Like best is an opinion.
Right. It's subjective. Yeah. It means nothing.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be the world's greatest athlete. Like, that's an opinion.
Right.
There's like over 7 billion people in the world. Like, that's a lot of people's opinions to be concerned about.
Yeah. Yeah, that striving for something that can lead to a lot of like unfulfillment and lack of satisfaction. You're going to do all these things and try all this stuff, and it's like you're constantly chasing the next thing. It's like, I'm not successful enough, I'm not satisfied enough, I'm not this enough, and you're constantly chasing that because you don't have that defined expectation.
Right, and that's kind of where it's like, when we talk about the side effect things, where let's just talk about professional athletes for half a second.
Right.
It's like, you look at professional athletes, that have these freaking tremendous bodies or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, their goal wasn't to look great. Like, that wasn't their goal. Their goal was to be the best person that they could be at whatever sport they're in. I'm gonna be the best basketball player in the world. Guess what? That means going to the gym.
Yeah.
Guess what? That means doing cardio. Right. Guess what? That means like all these things that they have to do in order to compete at that professional level. And the side effect, right, is what we're talking about today. The side effect is that they have this body.
Right.
The side effect is that they make $1 million a year or more.
Right.
Right. These are side effects of their goals and their dreams as to what they want to be.
So that's the interesting thing. That's why I think it was kind of fun to get on this subject, and it was hard to grasp at first.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was like, what do you? I was like, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I guess most people don't understand what we're trying to talk about. I don't know. And I'm trying my best to explain it now. And I guess over the past few days we've been talking about it. You've kind of been catching on. So I don't know. Maybe you can shed light on that, or maybe what turned the light on for you, or what. What was it?
I guess it was about reframing how I thought of the unintended consequences or the unknown unknowns. Like Tim Ferriss had this story or whatever. He was saying when he wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, he's like, I never could have made a 5-year or 10-year plan that looked like how my life turned out. I was like, I never would have been able to guess I would meet this person, or I could have never set this intention to hit this thing and to be this thing and to do these things. It's like, after I wrote this book, I was like, I never want to write a book again. And I ran on to write 5 more books. It's like, and then he's like, I never would have dreamt of having this massively successful podcast. I never would have thought of this in my entire life. These are all unintended, unknown consequences, in not a bad way, of setting this. Yes, a side effect of setting his goal of, I want to make a book that solves this problem that I have and I think others have. And then from that, turn the whole world of things from that. Many of books, an amazing, all these things that he wound up getting because he had having this very hyper-focused, proper.
Right. I mean, that's interesting, right? Like, in Tim Ferriss's example, he's not saying that from the get-go he was like, oh, I'm going to be this famous person, I'm going to make all this money, I'm going to have all this influence. Mm-hmm. His very first goal was to just do something simple.
Right.
Write a book.
Right.
Like, I have all these ideas, I'm going to get my thoughts together, I'm going to write a book. Mm-hmm. And then from there, once that book happened, then things kind of blew up. Right. This was unexpected. This was a side effect, right? Unexpected. Something that he never could have imagined from writing this book. He just had to go get this book out there.
Yeah.
And then something great happened. Right.
Yeah. And versus the goal of I want to make $1 million. I want a Beverly Hills home, or I want a Lambo. Like, that wasn't his goal. It's like, I have this experience I want to write about.
Right. And that's kind of what I was trying to get on as far as the side effect of goals. It's like, if people had it in their mind to, I guess if we're talking about goals that involve money, mm-hmm. most of the rich and wealthy people in the world, they solve problems.
Right.
Their original goal is not to make, millions of dollars, right? They want to solve problems. I mean, look at Jeff Bezos, right? It's like, his goal wasn't to make this crazy multi-million dollar. His goal wasn't to become the number one wealthy person in the world or whatever it is, right? His goal is to solve a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And it started off with selling books online.
Yep. Something simple.
Something super simple.
now all of a sudden we have Amazon, and then now Amazon's bought Whole Foods, right? It's like, it's just, but even just throughout that process, it's like he's solving problems along the way.
Mm-hmm.
He's creating a better world for people, right? Like you don't even have to go to the store anymore.
No.
You can just order stuff online.
But even taking that a step further, not only does the system set you up to financially win on a good quality, inexpensive product, you don't even have to think about it. I have things that just show up at my house every month.
Right. I mean, it's like you have, hopefully some days you may take more dumps than others, but
right.
You know what I mean? It's like, depending on what illnesses you have, right? But anyway, but in general, right? Like, okay, it's been about 30 days. I might need to buy new toilet paper.
Yes. Yeah, I have a huge industrial box toilet paper that shows up at my house every 30 days. Don't even have to think about it. Just knock on my door. Here's your toilet paper, sir. Sounds good. Thanks.
But you know what I mean? And that's kind of the thing. It's like his ideas were to solve problems.
Right.
And all this side effects, right, is that he gets the fame, he gets the money, he gets all of this stuff. It's like that wasn't his original intent.
Yeah.
His intent was never to, I don't know, I'm not the guy, but from what I understand about most successful people, like they work hard.
Right.
They work hard to solve problems that most people can't solve.
Yeah. And I seen that shift in my life too. And I changed my thinking. Well, how am I going to get $1 million? And whatever thing can I do to get that? Like, that was the thing I used to think about. Like, what can I do to get $1 million? Like, that was, my goal. And the side effect of that was doing every dumb thing in the world that never panned out because I never wanted to give it any effort because I didn't want to do it because the goal was wrong. The intent was wrong.
Right.
Versus when I shifted to, let's do this thing I really want to do, and helping people and solving problems. And when I started doing that, then the success was easy. The things that came, it was easy to do. It was easy to when obstacles came up or when things came up, when adversity came up, it was easy to stick through it and deal with it. It was like, well, I want to be here, and that these things are not what I'm after, so it doesn't matter because I have a singular focused mission going down this path towards these things.
Right. I mean, it just kind of like going on the whole destination fever thing. It's like, I watched a YouTube video. I forget, man. I think I wish I would have bookmarked that or something. But like, it's just this guy, and he was just like drawing stuff like, this is a average person. He gets a wife. They got a family. They got a house, a car, blah blah blah, whatever. And then they get the job of their dreams, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. And then like finally they reach their destination. Mm-hmm. And like he's like, but what this guy, and he just keeps writing. Like I like those stories where like right on the board. He's like, it's like what this person didn't realize was by the time he arrived at the destination, like he was old already, and all that he really had was his journey on how he got there. I was like, dang, like that's crazy, So that's just another story, is to like remind us like. It's not about the destination.
Oh,
it's about the journey.
It is.
It's like all the steps that you took to get there.
Yep.
Like that's the process. Like, unfortunately, if you have this destination fever and you're going through hell just to get to your destination, when you get to your destination, that's all you're going to have is hell. And that's unfortunate.
And even a lot of times what happens is when you get there, like, this is what I was doing. Like, all right, no, there's something, I got to go, next thing, all right? And you're not even enjoying anything. You're not enjoying life. You're not enjoying the process, the growth, all these things that come along with doing those things.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of it. It's like you have to enjoy the journey. It's like most people set the destination without even thinking about the journey, right? They take the medication without knowing the side effects. Right. And then all of a sudden these side effects come along, and most of the time you don't like these side effects. And I think that's kind of what this show is about, and how I want to try to flip the script and say, hey, it's not about the destination. It's not about the end goal. It's about the journey and what you're going to go through. And the best and quickest way to get there is to do something that's for you.
Right.
And with that, you're going to have this side effect, right? Of wealth. You're going to have this side effect of losing weight, right? You're going to have this side effect of being happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is far more important than any $1 million that you could ever gain, or, you know, or any weight loss program that you're going through that sucks. Like,
or yeah, fame or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of multi-millionaires that are sad, lonely, depressed people.
Yeah. You know, that is unfortunate. It's very
it is. And that's what we're talking about too. Like, we're talking about weight loss, and it's like, instead of your goal maybe being, I want to lose weight. Like, well, how about maybe let's go play some basketball instead? Like, you know, I like playing basketball. Like, instead of like just focusing on losing weight and getting obsessed with this thing, like maybe if I just go out and I play some soccer on the weekend, or, you know, pick up basketball, or maybe just go and shoot some hoops or
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you live in Hawaii, like, let's just go hiking on the weekends.
Right.
Let's go hike.
Yeah, let's go body surf or something.
You know, like, those, to me, those are more realistic goals, right? And the side effect is that you are going to lose weight because you're becoming more active.
Yeah, I mean, you probably make some friends. Your dopamine's going to get up, and all these things are going to happen. You're not even going to even think about.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's why I think sometimes people just have these BS goals, right?
Yeah.
BS stands for their belief system. But anyway, it's like, you know, it's just like the goal of, like, you know, I'm going to lose weight. Like, what does that mean? Like,
right.
How does that even pan out? And I think we even had the other conversation too about people that want to make an extra buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about, like, you know, don't make your goal to make a extra $100 a month. Like, use a talent, right? Like, if you're an artist, you know what I mean? Like, make your goal to go to the park every weekend and draw.
Right.
You know, the first time you go, you're not going to make money, but you're going to have pictures that you draw or paint or whatever you use your skill. You know, by the second or third time you go to the park, you're going to have these pictures. Just put them up. Just put, you know, $5, $2, $1, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, while you're there, just keep drawing. And eventually, over time, people are going to be like, hey, that guy in the park, he's there every weekend. Oh, look, he's got a good picture today. Oh, $5, no problem. And, like, all of a sudden, you have this additional source of income now. Because you're doing something that you love.
Right. You're having fun. You're out there. You're outside. You're meeting people. You're doing something you like. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, there's that $100 I needed. But, man, never mind that. I've been having such a good time.
Yeah, and that's just it, right? Like, you're enjoying the journey. Right. It's not just about making $100, because, like,
right, because you could easily make that the most miserable thing you've ever done. Like, man, I just want to make an extra $100, and I've created this mound of stress and this anxiety, and I haven't even got anything started yet because I can't get out of my own head. And versus, you know, just getting out there and doing this, and you're teaching yourself, you know, this perseverance. You're becoming resilient, and you're finding things out about yourself that you didn't know. I mean, those are the things, like, that's what makes life great. You know, when you start to do these things, you're out there helping people, you're providing something, a service or goods to the world that enhances other people's lives. Like, that's way more than $100 or $1,000 or whatever it is you're trying to do.
And eventually, if you keep doing those things,
mm-hmm.
right, you will have consequences. You will have side effects that are going to be positive.
Right.
You're going to get that extra money, or you will eventually start losing some weight.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you start teaching an art class and then start helping the kids out, maybe, you know, and
yeah, especially in that, it's like, yeah, you know, now not only people are going to come buy your picture, but it's like, now you got some kid who wants to do it. You start teaching them, like, hey, yeah, here, I'll teach you how to draw. Here's a tree. Let me show you, you know, let me show you the strokes or whatever. When I was a kid, I used to love watching that guy with the afro hair.
Bob Ross or whatever.
I don't know what his name is, dude, but that guy is just like, you know what I mean? He's just like whipping out his little, like, X-Acto knife or whatever. And he's just like, he's like, oh, look, we got leaves now. I was like, what? I was like,
mountains. Like, how did you do that?
Dude, that's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, I used to love watching that guy. He just, you know.
But it was effort. Like, that was it. It was effortless, and he enjoyed it, and he was out there teaching and stuff and doing these things. And
yeah, that's good, man. I completely forgot about that guy. That guy is so cool, dude.
Yeah, it's Bob Ross. He's on Netflix now. He's got his, and Titus likes watching it too. He enjoys. It's still got the same magic all these years later. Just watching, like,
yeah.
Like, when he's done, you're like, oh my God, it's a lake and trees, and where did that come from? how did you?
Where did that come from? And then, you know, but just like that though, you know, like those things, like just like in Bob Ross's paintings, how things just kind of, they start from something that doesn't seem like much.
Mm-hmm.
And then from here, you just make little tweaks here and there. And, you know, at the end, it like becomes like this beautiful, magnificent thing. And I just see so many people sometimes. It's like, you want to get out there, you want to do things, you know, you want to make money, you want to lose weight. And I'm like, I think you're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, just like we're talking about, was it earlier last night or whatever? The shallow goals. You know, they have no substance. They have no meaning, and they have no worth. Is because, you know, a lot of times, you know, you're like, well, if I want this level of social, you know, acceptance or hierarchy, you know, if I want to bump myself up on the lobster rung, well, I've got to do these things that must be what everybody likes, the fancy cars and the hot girls or the hot guys or whatever it is, all these things you start chasing. And you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. There's nothing to this.
Yeah.
I have no reason or idea why I'm doing these things.
Yeah, just like I was watching, we were showing you that Gary Vee video the other day. Right? He's like, can we just like stop like taking all of our money out on the bank and like dropping it on the bed and taking a picture of it, or
renting some Airbnb and
like 4 guys like getting together to like get a private jet and like posting it up on Instagram, pretending like this is the life that we actually live. Like, he's like, stop doing that. Like, you know, it's just number one, it's toxic, and number two, it's just, you know, I'm sorry, I'm just going off about Gary Vee, and you like go off about Ryan Holiday, but you know, he's like, that's just kind of like what goes on about things. It's like, that's the type of environment that you create. Those are the type of people that you attract. You attract people who want things way too fast.
Yep.
Just that's not realistic about anything, and it's like that in my mind leads to failure.
Yeah, it's these vanity metrics that are ego-driven, that have zero meaning and zero worth. Like, that's great. You got a nice Rolls Royce and a private jet. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Nothing. You know, a lot of times it's nothing. Yeah, you got great. You got lots of followers. Yeah, you make bank on your whatever, you know, promoted posts and this, that, and another. But what is that doing for your follower? What is that doing for the people that are looking to you for guidance or advice or whatever? You know, they're just getting more wrapped up in these vanity metrics and these things that don't mean nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't say they mean nothing, but I think that society has put value on things that they not necessarily should have as much value as they do today.
Right, and that's the circle I run around. That's what I think. You know, I think those things are
right. And I guess we come from the old school, right? It's like in the old school, it's like you see that guy driving a BMW or a Mercedes, like, yeah, he earned that money to buy that. Like,
right. Yeah.
Didn't just give those out for free back in the day. Like, you know, there was no American Express black card. You just like walk up and you're like, yeah, whatever. It's like,
and that's the things I used to ask guys like that. Like, oh, what do you do to get that? Like, what did you do to get that? Like, what do you do to earn money to get that? That's the questions I used to ask. Like, what are you into? Like, what does your life look like that you have these things? Like, you know, what steps do I got?
I kind of did the same thing, I guess, because I worked at the bank, and like I saw this guy just like depositing fat checks like every other week. You know, he's like, hey, yeah, I'm just calling to see if my check cleared. I'm like, yeah, how much your check for? He's like, oh, you know, 30,000. I'm like, 30,000. All right. I was like, oh yeah, it cleared, man. It's all good.
Right.
You know, because at the bank, like when you make large deposits like that, like they put a hold on it. So,
right.
Like they'll give you like 500 immediately, and then like they'll give you 1,000 the next day. And then like you got to wait 5 or 7 days for the rest of the 20 grand or whatever, how much it is. And like this guy would just call up often enough. He'd be like, hey, I'm just calling to see if this check cleared. I was like, another one, dude? I was like, I swear I just talked to you last week. He's like, yeah, this one's 15 or whatever. He's like, I was like, oh yeah, that one cleared too. I was like, hey man, if you don't mind, like what do you do? You know, like I'm just like, you know, but that's just part of it, right? Like that's just me. I was a kid being young, like, oh, this guy's making money. Like, I must be doing something.
Right.
He's like, oh no, I'm into real estate and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like that's kind of like led me a little bit to like get out there and do real estate. But my story is part of me is like that's what I originally got into real estate for, was the money.
Yep.
And for me, I think that's kind of why I just didn't like it as much. Like I went there for the wrong reasons. I went there, right? I had this goal that I was going to do real estate to make money.
Right.
And come to find out, like, it's not easy money. Like, it's not just, I'm going to call the bank every other week to see if my $30,000 check is going to clear. Like, that guy probably did a lot of work. I mean, his eyes, like, I wasn't cashing checks like he was. It's not my first year. Not even my 5th year was like that. Like, it took me a while before I got up and running.
Right. Yeah, it did. It took you quite a while. But that's, I mean, in your case, maybe not so much that when it got hard, you didn't give up. But, you know, that I've had to experience so many things. It's like, oh, you see that quick money. You're like, you know what? I think this time I could make that quick cash. And then you fall down that slippery little slope. And next thing you know, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? So that's the thing. Like I learned, like now when I have an idea for something, I'm like, okay, this is great. And I'm like, okay, wait, what's my motivation? My motivation is money or something like some vanity metrics. I'm like, nope, not doing it. Because there's nothing here. There's no substance here.
Yeah, and then even that reminds me of something too. Like I was listening to Ty Lopez the other day, and he has this thing called like the slot machine theories or whatever it is. And he's like, you know, when you go to Vegas or whatever, you see the machine. It's like, if you know that machine A hits 1 out of 10 times, right? And then you know that machine B hits 1 out of 20 times. It's like, you should be going to the 1 out of 10 machine.
Right.
You know, but just because the 1 in 20 hits 1 out of 20 times, like there's times when you're pulling the one that's 1 out of 10, and it's like, man, I only win 1 out of 10 times.
Right.
Right. But then you're like looking at that machine next to you, even though you know it wins only 1 out of 20, but you're like, maybe this pool is going to be the one.
Right. Maybe that was 19 and this will be 20.
And you like go over there and you like hit it and you like, you don't win. And it's like, like, you know, it's like if you're,
or you do win and then you're like, yeah, I got the touch.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, you're going to go hit this 10 again. And you're like, hey, you know what? Let's go hit this 20 again. And like, what the odds are that 1 out of 20 is a losing machine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that goes to, you know, he went on further to say, like, just look at the people in your life or look at the situations in your life. It's like, well, this guy's like, seems like a good friend. Like every now and then, like he comes through, you know what I mean? But it's like, should you really be invested in a person like that?
Right.
Or like this job, like seems okay. Like, it's like, yeah, it's, you know, 1 out of 20. Like it's, I mean, it's all right. But if this and if that, it's like, you have all these ifs, you have all these what ifs. And it's like, stick to the game plan. 1 out of 10 is your best bet. Right. That's your best bet. If you look at all these other things and it's like, maybe this, maybe that, or sometimes it does this, I think you might need to reconsider that. You know, you got to look at something in which the side effect is going to be something to your advantage, not something that may happen in the distant future. Right. It's like a pipe dream.
Yeah. Things that are out of your control, and there's so many unknown variables, and there's always obstacles and there's always struggles. And if you're not in it for the right reasons, you're just not going to stick through it.
Yeah. And that's kind of what, you know, today's show is about. It's like well, not you, but for me personally, I try to pick and do things that are more about me. And I get it. I understand it takes a lot of self-knowledge and self-awareness that, you know, if you're not even in the first quarter, if you're in the first quarter of life, you may not have that, you know, but as you're going through the process, right, and you're doing these goals that are out there that aren't fulfilling you, like, be aware of that.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be aware that you got to take notice. Like, oh, well, I tried this and it didn't work. And I tried this and it didn't work. Like, don't give up on life. Like, right. Go through the rubbish, you know? You're going to go through the rubbish and say, okay, this didn't work. Why didn't it work? You know, is it like Tyson said, like you were chasing something, you know, or was there something in there that you actually did like and the timing of it just wasn't right? I mean, you kind of got to go through the rubble. I don't know if you remember about Rich Dad too, right? Like Robert Kiyosaki talked about his wallet business, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, you look at that wallet business and like, it just became a success overnight. And then he messed it up. right?
Yeah, he took the cheap, easy road, and he's like, I don't need to patent this stuff. I'm just going to do my thing and make my money.
Yeah.
He started getting knocked off, and then he wasn't financially literate, and then his accountant was ripping him off.
Oh yeah, dude.
Next thing you know, you invented nylon Velcro wallets. They hit, and then now you're poor because you went for the easy road.
Yeah. But in that story, though, he talks about that. Like, those are the lessons that he learned.
Yeah.
He went back through it all, as painful as that was, and he saw what he did wrong.
And that's my favorite part about the story. He said, he's like, I could have sat there and said, it was this fault and that person's fault and the industry and this guy copied me and the accountant stole from me. I could have blamed everybody, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I needed to be aware that these guys were stealing it. This was happening, and I didn't take the proper steps. And that's the difference between him having that success and then failure for the rest of his life versus here's my success, here's my failure, here's my learning, here's my growth, here's everything else.
Right. And so, the second time when he went out to build Rich Dad, right? He built the Rich Dad company, like he did that the right way.
And the first thing he did was go out and get those trademarks and the patents and everything he needed to do before anything else. I know already, if I come to market wrong, I'm going to lose.
Right. And this time it wasn't just about a quick money scheme either.
No.
He went and he built Rich Dad like as a company to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
And, the goal wasn't to make like $1 million. Like, the goal was different this time.
Right. To share his experience and his knowledge.
Well, the goal was to teach people about his rich dad and his poor dad so that he could affect people, right? He created the game so that people could learn how to be financially smart. You know what I mean? And then that's what made him successful. And again, it's just like, you got to look at the side effect of things, whether they're good or bad. If they're bad side effects, go through the rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
Learn, right? It's like, what happened? Why did this not work? And and that's just part of the process. And I don't know if you're young out there, again, because I work with a lot of young people. It's like, don't take it to heart. Don't, after the first 3 failures, like, you got to keep going.
Okay. 9 out of 10 businesses fail. You just need one.
And it sucks though, because like I have friends who are young, and now even my son, he's getting out there going into high school. It's like, I gotta watch those mistakes.
Yeah.
As an older person, I want to immediately instill all the knowledge that I have into this person, so that they don't make the same mistakes I did. But I know that that's not going to work.
No. Yeah, I think the greater lesson is letting the failure happen and be like, okay, let's post game this. What's up? What happened? What's the lesson?
And hopefully, I would definitely be there for my son. But hopefully for those of you out there, you have somebody that can help you go through the wreckage, But I see people too who are in so much pain, like they can't even go through the wreckage,
But there is people that out there. We're here. The Facebook group is here. The discussion group is here. Like there's lots of groups and things, and the internet is full of things if you look for the right things. Don't use those excuses. Just because they're not next to you or near you, you know what I mean? We're thousands of miles apart. I still ain't no big thing to jump up on a call, jump on a text, and be like, hey, I'm going through this thing. I got this thoughts. I got this. What's up? Help me out. Let's walk through this.
Yeah,
so easy.
It's just like the show is just about awareness and bringing awareness to all these things. And I know this is kind of like a new thing, right? Like side effects, like goal side effect. Like what is this? But realistically, you got to look inward and notice patterns in life that are just going to set you up to win.
Yeah.
I know this is a hard concept I guess for me, it was a hard concept to explain to Tyson to more than a few days to kind of get him to understand what I was talking about. But
you've got to be around people that you can have those difficult conversations with.
Yeah.
And because from that comes something, comes greatness, comes a greater understanding, a new perspective, whatever it be. But you've got to be brave and willing to have those conversations, to be offended, to not understand. and work through that. So, what the fuck are you talking about?
This guy.
You know, or like, that's stupid. Explain this to me, because that doesn't make no sense to me.
Yeah.
But you've got to have that within you to say those things, or be the person that says, okay, man, I'm sorry. Let's walk through this. Let me step this back. What don't you understand? How can we help? Like, let me bring you to the way I'm thinking. And maybe at the end of the conversation, you're still like, you know what? I hear you. I heard what you said, but ain't my thing. Or I don't want to subscribe to that, whatever it be. But you've got to be willing to have those honest conversations and listen. A lot of times when you hear something that you don't agree with, or, something that contradicts, what you hear in your camp, your group of people, and you shut down, you've got to say, oh, okay, I'm shutting down right now. Like, what something's bothering me that I don't agree with. Let me try to open back up a little and hear what's happening. So you can try and maybe change your mind, or maybe soften up a little on the edges, or something, whatever it is. Got to have that.
And just bringing that back around to topic is like, if you don't look inward and you don't know what drives you as a person, it's going to be hard for you to create a goal that has a side effect of your desired intent.
Right.
Like we talked about in this, it's like, if you want to lose weight, don't make that your goal. Make your goal be active and do stuff that you like. You got to know what that is.
Yeah. Or to be healthy, or live long for your children, or something that's got some grit to it.
Yeah. And same thing with, you want to make extra money on the side. Like, you gotta, I wouldn't recommend that being your goal. I'd recommend get out there and use the talents that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to figure out what those are. I apologize. That's gonna take some time.
That's okay.
And it's gonna take something. But to me, I think even if you don't know your strengths or what you're good at, like, you got to get out there and figure that out. Take some time. Invest in you.
Especially if you don't know, you've got to start. Okay, I don't know what the hell I'm good at. Let's start doing things.
Yeah. Who knows? You might find something that you're good at that you never knew.
Yeah.
Those unknown unknowns. You got to get out there and try things.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, and that's kind of what it is. So, yeah.
And with that, I'd like you to try entering to win this month's giveaway.
This guy. Well, I mean, definitely. If you do the giveaway, this is what, Audible, right? We're giving.
It's Audible. Here's your chance. You get enter to win, and when you win, you're gonna get 3 books. That's 3 chances, maybe, to find something you're good at, or improve on something you're interested in.
Yeah.
All the world's knowledge is locked away in books, my friends.
It is.
Go get them however you want to consume them. If you like Audible books, this could be a way to get 3 free credits.
Yeah.
3 free books.
Yeah.
Enter socialchameleon.show/pick-me. Let's get you some credits.
That's sweet. Yeah, I don't think we have any books on this topic, because it's not really something that's out there.
If you're looking for some books, go look at the past books we have. We've got a lot of great books in there. A lot of books on, different things. It's sort of goal setting is the theme here. We'll do an episode a little later on about setting goals, setting proper goals. But for now, there's lots of things out there. There's lots of great books out there. Go look through the past books. There's great things there. I do recommend Kevin Kelly. He's got this amazing article called 1,000 True Fans. I will link to that in the episode, and it talks about finding your 1,000 true fans or less. It depends what you're going after, but instead of going after these large groups of everybody and whatever, if you can focus down into 1,000 true fans, I think this will help a lot of people understand kind of this concept of side effects from setting proper goals and gaining loyal fans or subscribers. Those guys where, Aerosmith, those guys have been rocking with them for 20 years. Those guys are the guys that keep that band alive and keep that memory going and keep those concerts full, is having those true dedicated fans.
Yeah. And I kind of like that, the whole concept about that, like 1,000 true fans. Like you think about, 1,000 is a big number, but compared to the amount of people in the world, but
Or maybe it's 100, maybe it's 500, whatever. It doesn't have to be 1,000.
Yeah, whatever that number is. But that's like, again, you're being true to something.
Yeah.
Right. You are staying focused on something that is, geared towards you and whatever this small group of people is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But the side effects of that are going to be the things that you desire. Right?
Yep.
That the money, the happiness, right? Being around people that are like-minded, just like, and whatever that is. So I definitely think that's good.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you guys a quick little example here. I had a client I was talking to. She's a therapist. She's kind of getting started. And she was like, well, what about everybody else? And I was like, what do you think about this? If you had 100 patients a year, would your life be good? Oh yeah, my life would be real good. So just focus on those 100 people. You're at about 17 million people, sort of like, kind of maybe like into what you're doing. Yeah. Or 100 people that are so in love with what you're doing. They're so grateful and glad that you're in their life and you're helping them through their thing. It's way more impactful and easy to manage and easy to hone in and be hyper-focused on those 100 people instead of trying to please 17 million.
Yeah.
Take that as maybe a little bit of a thought. Go read this essay. It's a short, 10-minute read. I'll link to it in the show notes at thesocialchameleon.show and give it a read. And then with that, Ransom, what's this week's challenge?
This challenge is to make proper goals. Yeah. Stop basing your goals off other people's standards that are unrealistic for you. Yeah. I emphasize that you make a goal that's based off something that you can do. Mm-hmm. Right? Don't lower your standards, but rather change your thought process, right? And think about what are the possible side effects of doing this new goal. Your goal should be based on stuff that's good for you and has an additional side effect or added bonus into your life, right? That bonus being losing weight, that bonus being happy, that bonus being more money in your life, right? The bonus or the side effect of your goal should be what you want, and your goal should actually be based off something that you can actually do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with that, dream big, set audacious goals.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with your goals, start with a low resistance task and build up from there. Starting is key.
Yeah.
No matter how small or insignificant. Who and what you become is more important than that dream.
Nice.
The character you will build, the courage you will gain, the faith in you and your abilities. Become that person you dream of, and the things you dream of will come.
It's deep, man. It's deep.
Thank you. And if this episode was a help to you, please share it with at least 2 people that you think can learn about side effects of goals.
Nice.
If you'd like to support the show by investing in yourself and your education and your future, head over to our Patreon page, check it out. Become a Patreon if you think we've earned it. In between shows, you can connect with us at The Social Chameleon Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also check out us on YouTube and your favorite podcast apps. Those of you on the podcast app world, if you guys can like, share, leave a review, I'd really greatly appreciate it, and it would help our show reach more amazing people like you. For past episodes and links to everything we've talked about here tonight, you guys can head over to thesocialchameleon.show. And until next time, keep learning, growing, and transforming into the person you want to become.